clothes might get humble running. Today I'm going to be walking you through my winter running glove box. Now if you don't know me already, or if you haven't read or followed any of my reviews from Road Trail Run, I'm a trail and ultra runner. I dabble a little bit in roads, but I primarily like to run out on the trails, especially the ultra distances. My primary distance is the 100-miler. Love that race, love running through the night. That type of race puts you out in all types of conditions. Pretty much throughout the course of one day, you'll run through the full spectrum of temperature ranges that you would encounter over the course of your daily runs. I'm going to take you through my glove box, so to speak, right here. I'll just point out that none of these items on the table are sample products. These are all products that I've purchased with my own money. If I do gear reviews on Road Trail Run or I post about a product in one of my videos, I definitely point that out. But in this case, I take keeping my hands warm very seriously. So if something comes out and it catches my attention and I think it's going to help keep my hands warm, I just go for it. So like I said, everything you see here on this table and everything that I'm going to talk about, I've purchased with my own money. If you're blessed with warm hands and this is not an issue for you, maybe this video is not going to be of interest to you at all. But if you're like me and you're out there on the run, I tend to, once I get going, the blood flow seems to flow to my body, to my working muscles, my legs, my feet even. I have no problem with cold feet, but my hands just get super cold on the run. Day to day, it's not an issue, but typically when I'm running is really where it affects me. So I'm just going to walk through from right to left here, from warmer temperatures to the most extreme low temperatures. And I'll also mix and match some of these and put them together and show you how I work that. So starting over here, I have these Patagonia Capilene gloves. These are my most lightweight gloves. So once the temperature in the fall hits about 50 degrees, I'll go for something like this. Now I have different liner options. I have another Serius liner option here that I'm going to talk about in a combination sense. But here, these are just Patagonia Capilene layer, low cuff here. They have a nice pull. These are very light. Once fall season hits, it gets to 55, 50 degrees. I'll put these on and generally I'll kind of take them on and off depending if the sun comes out, it gets windy, this or that. But when it hits 50, I want to have these with me. So once it starts dipping, say below 50, or I know I'm going someplace windy, I have these other Patagonia gloves, which are a little bit of a step up. These I believe are called Peak Mission gloves, and they have this wind blocking liner. I don't think they make these gloves anymore, which is too bad because as you can see, I've used these quite a bit, tried to patch them up over here, but they have this great wind blocking layer here, and you can just tuck that right in when you don't need it. They also have a higher cuff, so I really like this. I'll put this in the range of 45 and below, where I know the temperature is going to be steady. I may encounter some wind, so I could use this if I need it. I actually kind of like that they're wearing out now, so I could kind of thumb around on my phone if I have a vest and I'm doing different things. But Patagonia, if you're watching, please make these gloves again. Similar to this Peak Mission glove from Patagonia, I have a version from Black Diamond. Many brands make these type of convertible gloves. This one is definitely a little wider. I don't have a meat claw hand here, so if you have bigger hands, you might want to look at this Black Diamond version here. So it has a similar convertible hood over here to block wind. They have a little bit of water resistance, but they will soak through in rain. So this one comes over. It's not as tight. Again, this one fits me a little larger. So if you have larger hands, you might want to look at that, at this Black Diamond glove. If it starts getting, I'm going down in temperature range here, so I'm talking 40 degrees, 45 to 40, I'll put this on and I'll be fine. But usually what I'll do with this glove, since like I said, it's a little bit big for me, and this is something you may want to think about. You may want to buy one of these convertible mittens in a slightly larger size. Sometimes you hit the size kind of, you're in between. You may want to get it on the slightly larger end so that you could layer a liner underneath. So this is just another liner that I have. This is a Serius liner. It's a ski. You can get this at any ski shop. It has this kind of metallic interior. It's supposed to reflect heat back onto your hands. So similar to this one, This one's a little bit warmer. Sometimes I'll take this out on a light day in the 50-degree range. This has a higher cuff than this one though. So what I'll typically use this one with is this black diamond glove. So this one I have a little extra space on the inside, so if it gets kind of cold where I'm hitting say 35, 30 degrees, I'll layer this one over. So I get a little bit of extra in the cuff. I have a double layer. It gives a little bit of, traps a little more air inside the glove itself, and then I still have this convertible layer. So really with this setup, I'm pretty good into probably the upper 20s, maybe even the low 20s, especially having two layers here. I'll just point out a couple of other items here. I've got these buff arm sleeves, and these are actually UV sleeves. I think they're on a fishing page or something. It's a regular thin buff arm sleeve. Keeping your wrists warm is super important if you want to keep your hands warm. I don't know where I read this, but a lot of the blood flow goes right through your wrists into your fingers. When you're running, a lot of times everybody's got their running watch on. You'll have your watch and you'll want to check it, and then your glove might hit below your watch, and then your sleeve might go above your watch. You may have gaps. Even small gaps can affect the temperature regulation in your fingers. What I'll often do is I'll wear a liner glove and maybe throw this on top, and this one has this kind of thumb setup. Like I said, I believe this is made for fishing. So I definitely like arm sleeves for additional warmth in the arms, because like I said, my fingers get really cold, so that also means my arms tend to get colder than the rest of my body. So I'll often wear some kind of arm sleeves to also help keep my arms and fingers warm. But this is good to put that extra layer and completely cover your wrists, so there's no wind getting through, even if you want to put your watch on top of this. So that's something I'll either put this, I'll put my liner glove on top of this, or I'll put this below my liner glove. Another option in terms of dual layer setups is this type of cycling glove. This one's from Black Diamond. I saw this in a running shop out in Utah somewhere, and I wear this in the summer even when it's hot. I definitely tend to take some spills out on the trail. I don't know how sure-footed you may be. It doesn't make your hands too warm, but it'll definitely protect you in a fall. If you take that fall, you cut up your palms, everybody knows you're dealing with scab, depending on how bad it is, you're dealing with scabs for maybe a week or two. It's so annoying on your hands. You're doing everything with your hands. So you may want to think about wearing fingerless gloves even in the summer. One thing I've been doing recently, I've been doing a lot of filming, so what you can do is wear a fingerless glove like this under one of these convertible gloves. So I typically, if you've seen my recent videos, I typically wear these under this Black Diamond one if it's not too cold. This definitely keeps your hand a little bit warmer. It's an additional layer. Again, I could use this hood if it gets really cold, but when it comes time to check my phone, if I'm working with a camera or something, I could pull this, stash it in my vest, and then I don't have my hands fully exposed for whatever amount of time I need to fumble around with my phone or camera. So it definitely keeps your hands a little bit warmer as opposed to just wearing a glove and taking it off if you need to use your phone or camera or something like that. I definitely don't trust these type of e-tips. This one has one, but it's completely unreliable. I've never had one that really worked too well. So I like to actually use my fingers for operating a touch screen. Again, these are great summertime and winter. Now moving to the most extreme cold temperatures. This is a product called White Paws Run Mitts. I actually got these at REI. These are kind of like a fleece mitten, but why they call them paws is because there's no fingers here. Kind of like wrist warmers, and if it gets really cold, you can tuck them over, but you have no access to your fingers. You could kind of stick your thumb out and use it, but I would say this is for the most extreme cold temperatures. I did a race 2 years ago, Wilson Creek, frozen 50K. It was 9 degrees at the start. I wore these Patagonia Peak Mission gloves with these run mitts on top of my wrists, and I was fine throughout the entire 50K, around 4+ hours. Keeping your wrist warm, and this is really a thick fleece layer on the inside. I think a couple times when I wasn't fueling or messing with gels or things like that, I would throw this on top, and then you could kind of ball up your hands to keep them warm. But then when you need to, on the run, maybe tear open a gel pack, something like that, you can just pull that flap back and have full access to your hand with maybe whatever thickness of glove you need under here according to the temperature. You can go with that in combination with this. So similar to the idea behind these thinner buff arm sleeves, this is taking it one step further. You're keeping the wind and the cold off of your wrist, but in this case, you're also wearing a thicker layer. You're also insulating. These are what I would use for my most extreme running conditions. It's about 25 out right now. It was 20 degrees this morning. I actually probably wouldn't wear these around 20 degrees Fahrenheit. They're probably a little bit too warm. Once it gets below 20, say 10, 15 Fahrenheit, that's a scenario where I'd reach for these, and I wouldn't want to be exposing my fingers pretty much in any circumstances, or at least very minimally. So I hope that glove roundup was informational for you. I would say the main takeaway being, if you do suffer from cold hands on the run, don't just think about getting the best one single glove that's going to cover every scenario. Really think about mixing and matching. Like I said, I have this for lighter temperatures, this even in the summer, but also in combination with a convertible glove. Then think about throwing arm sleeves on, arm sleeves that extend and cover your wrists. Then in really extreme cases, think about a thicker arm sleeve that's going to cover your wrist. So I hope you enjoyed that roundup. If you have any questions about my layering system, or if you have other strategies that I'm not talking about here that you think would work for me, I'm open to hearing about it in the comments. Thank you for watching, and don't let cold hands stop you from getting out on the run. Got that, Louis?